All right, here we go. U.S. Soccer, big announcement. They're saying that on May 31st, TBD is out and Senegal is in. So here is our remaining friendlies before the roster has to get announced. And they are spicy. On March 28th in Atlanta, we take on
what a sight
Belgium.
For sore eyes. This is beautiful.
Belgium, March 28th. Portugal, March 31st. Senegal, May 31st. Germany, June 6th. And actually, I believe that roster has to be announced before the Senegal and Germany game. So, if I'm not mistaken.
It's May 15th, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, I think you're right. So Belgium and Portugal are really the last two for everybody to audition. And, man, those are four incredible games. Pochettino has said he'll be bringing his final squad to those friendlies, not using those friendlies as a last tryout. That's the Senegal and Germany game. And I appreciate that. We've seen coaches all over the world sometimes wait till the very last minute, and I think that is absolutely heart-wrenching to do that to some of the guys at the very last minute. And we know some of those guys, and maybe we were with some of those guys. All right, so Senegal, for me, though, they beat England back in June, 3-1. I believe that's Thomas Tuchel's only loss as a manager for the Three Lions, and they are stacked. When I think about Senegal, and there is a path where we could potentially play them if we win our group and they finish third or vice versa. They got Mendy in goal, Koulibaly, Sadio Mane, Idrissa Gueye, Pap Matar Sarr, Iliman Ndiaye, who's excellent for Everton. I mean, that's going to be a great opponent for us. I'm excited for all four of these.
Yeah,
Chuck.
they have a lot of talent,
Sick.
A lot of quality. Underrated. I'd still say they're underrated. Like a comment here from Carol somewhere in England, Senegal coming in hot, France's B team. That might have been France's D team in 2002, and they beat France. So I feel like Senegal is slowly continue to gain ground in not only Africa and world football, and they have some really quality players. I remember watching them in the 2022 World Cup and thinking they're just a player or a play away from making a deep run.
Now I just want to talk about the schedule one, and then we'll get into our roster projections, Tones. Belgium, Portugal, Senegal, and Germany. I love all four of those opponents because they're going to help us cut our teeth. But those feel like knockout round opponents. There's none of those four where we're going to Paraguay and Australia and potentially Turkey. Turkey maybe falls into that a little bit where I think, will probably have more of the possession and maybe drive more of the game. Potentially. But if we have Turkey, even when we bring Turkey into it, none of those three opponents, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey, really kind of look like Belgium, Portugal, Senegal, and Germany, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, but
they look like better versions.
No, of course.
So what I mean, so what? Who do you want to play?
Well, no, I mean, I'd like to have like a team where we know for sure we're going to be driving. And not to say, listen, we thought we were going to get run against Uruguay, and Uruguay, we ran them. So I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I'm just saying those.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to throw it. Listen, I love that we're cutting our teeth against those teams, because if we want to have a deep run, we're going to be taking on one of those four for sure at some point, or someone in that category. I think you're picking up what I'm putting down. We're Australia's sitting back the whole game.
You want to play easier opponents, is what you're saying.
Listen, none of those teams are a layup, if that's where you're going, Chuck. I'm just saying that it would have been nice that one out of the four where we would be the clear protagonists in the game.
No, you're saying not protagonists, favorites.
Yeah, okay, fine. Favorites.
Right. And I would tell you hell to the no. This is the world. This is the World Cup. What do you mean? You want to go play, teams that aren't supposed to be making deep runs? If we're talking about making a quarterfinal, semifinal, you got to play the best teams that are going to be there potentially.
Okay, I'll give you 3 out of 4. Why not one?
No, I would take all. Senegal was a incredible get for this TBD.
I agree.
So now you're getting arguably one of the best African opponent outside of Morocco, right? Senegal and Morocco. Then you got Egypt, but this is a phenomenal opponent. Belgium and Portugal. For me, we're talking about potentially making a quarterfinal run. That's where we'd see Belgium. So that's a phenomenal opponent, because that's exactly who you could end up seeing in the quarterfinal.
I'm not asking for all 4 games like that. I was just asking for potentially one, and I'm not asking for Cabo
16.
Verde or.
I like it. I like it. I was hoping it was Argentina, if I'm being completely honest. So we get a little closer to Paraguay. You know, those 2 teams are at a different level. But
Tony, we've already played Paraguay, so it's not even there was no. When you've already played Paraguay, it's not, and Australia, you don't need to play an opponent that's similar. You've already played them. You've literally seen how they play. You've played against most of their best, their first team.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I wanted the next best team available in the world. Like, that's who I wanted to play. Like, this is what friendly fixtures used to look like, right? Like, you go to the Czech Republic and then play Portugal, and you play. We would go Poland and Portugal, or some rhythm like that. And we've got stripped of that for years now. And going into here, man, if we're going to talk about a semifinal, have a conversation about a semifinal, like, I want to be ready, right? I want to be ready for those teams. And we might not get matched up with any of those teams, but the level of those teams. And if we're gonna fix in the world for me, and I feel like we've been so stripped of this for so long. Like, I was excited. I'm really excited at Senegal. Was never on my radar. I was thinking Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, like teams that we normally get. But that I'm with Chuck on this one. Like, give it to us. These guys are playing at the top clubs in the world. They're starting to and again, if we're going to talk about being that deep, man, just roll it out. And I wish this is what the friendly schedules look like. We know that's
Jimmy wanted to play. Jimmy wanted to play New Zealand and Saudi Arabia and Jordan. That's what he wanted.
Listen. If we're getting into the weeds here, I would have taken a Tunisia. Tunisia, one of the best defensive teams in all of Africa, are going to sit back behind the ball and just be hard to play against. That's what we're going to face. The problems that we're going to have to solve against these other we're not going to face that in our group. So I don't listen. I get what you're saying, and I'm not asking for all 4 opponents to be quote unquote layups. I'm asking for just one. Tunisia's in the World Cup. They're a pot 3 team. They're hard to break down.
Jimmy, that's rubbish. That is rubbish.
It's not rubbish. It's thinking
you changed
through what we're going to face.
You've changed.
Oh, I've changed.
This is incredible. The guy is now asking to play Haiti in a friendly.
Okay. Yeah. I think Haiti would give us a good game. I got a ton of respect for Haiti. Are you saying Haiti or layup, Chuck? I feel like
what I don't understand, Jimmy, is we've already played Paraguay in a play. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity.
I'm just asking for one, Chuck. I'm not asking for all 4.
But listen,
I don't want this black or white world that we live in here. I think there's some gray. I'm talking about the gray. I'm not talking about the black or white.
But what I'm telling you here is, you play Portugal and you play Belgium. Those are your opportunities to pin them back. To see, okay, you think that we're just going to concede possession. This is the chance to go, hey, can you keep possession against teams like that? Can you pin them back for 5-10 minutes with the ball, create chances? This is what you want. How many times have we been on this podcast talking about how tired we are of seeing U.S. versus Mexico, U.S. versus Panama, the teams that we always see? If anything, if you told me, Jimmy, I don't want to see Germany, we play them. Give me France, give me England. Then I'd say, okay, you got a point. But to say you want to play at teams just so they're going to sit back and defend, I'd rather be tested against the very best, knowing that in those games, momentum and tempo is going to shift. And how do we deal with transition when maybe we go up a goal against a team that sits back, and next thing you know, they're flying and they're putting us under pressure and we have to defend? How do we counter?
Okay.
If we do that against Belgium and we do that against Portugal, I am so much more pleased than doing it against New Zealand.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, 2006. I'm going based on my own experience here. Leading up to the World Cup, we played Morocco. Solid, but they're not the Morocco we know of today. Okay, and we drove most of that game. We ended up losing in Nashville 1-0. We played Venezuela. Okay, we're in charge of that game, and then we played Latvia. Our last warm-up game before we go to the World Cup in Germany, and we're in the group of death. We got Czech Republic. We have Italy, and we have Ghana. And Bruce has already talked about it. Those 3 opponents that we played, he's still pissed. they weren't right preparation for us because that's not what we were going to face. We weren't solving the same problems that we were going to face in the World Cup with all the pressure on it. Listen, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit triggered because I don't understand why you can't see that there could be a lot of value in trying to break down. Yes, we did it already at the end of 2025. We're going to be walking into 26 with a different roster, with a different mindset. What's wrong with having an opponent that's just going to be hard to break down for us? And Tunisia, for me, I think is excellent and kind of sneaky and one of the tougher teams to play against. An African nation we could have played. That's it. I'm saying my piece on that. We could go on this forever, back and forth. Listen, I feel like what's funny is I agree with you,
I just think the counter argument. I was looking at it, Jimmy. I'd rather have the game sped up. Like let's play 4 games where the game is really, really sped up and we're figuring it out, and then we might get to Australia and the game looks a little bit slower, so we're ready. Like for it, you know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
That's fair.
I've just always been the one that wanted to play the best teams all the time as I could. I can understand the preparation, like the style of play, but I mean these guys have to be ready, man.
I get it.
Yeah, look,
you know,
for me, you want to be tested against the very best. That's and
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
And for Pochettino to literally know this is what I'm going into in 2026 and this summer, this is the players that I can trust in these big moments against the best players in the world with the speed of play, like Tony said, the tempo, the speed of play against the very best. You better be able to adjust.
I agree with that.
If you have the ball,
we
or
could
you
talk
don't
another
have
10
the
minutes
ball
just about that
against
alone.
Australia or Paraguay. But to say that you want to play a weaker opponent, because that's literally what you're saying is a weaker opponent because we're the favorites for preparation in a World Cup, that's not going to prepare you for the knockout stages. Honestly, it's not. I would, and I bet you if you asked every single player, they'd tell you, I want to play.
Of course, I would say the same thing.
I want to play Brazil. I want to play Portugal. I want to play Spain. I want to play England. I want to play France. And for me, U.S. Soccer did finally a tremendous job in scheduling these friendlies. And Senegal, by the way, is a phenomenal opponent. Phenomenal. And you're talking about Tunisia. I would say I would want to play Senegal 1,000 times out of 1,000 times because they have a lot more pace and quickness than Tunisia does. And that's something we need to be tested. I want to see how our team deals with real pace, real acceleration.
Okay.
And that's a little bit of a twist when you're talking about playing against Belgium, you're playing against Portugal, who are much more gifted. And you're talking about the players who are going to be on the ball, Bernardo Silva, Vitinha. Like that's where you're saying, okay, we got to defend and be in good shape. But a Senegal, a little bit more open match, transition matters a little bit more. That's a perfect test to balance Germany, Portugal, and Belgium.